Overnight ratings for Game 2 of the NBA Finals were released about an hour ago. I usually would wait. For most of the playoffs, I have waited for the official number to come out. But with this being the NBA Finals, I thought we would go ahead and get into the preliminary number or the overnight number. And we can predict how the media is going to cover this story for Game 2. We did this earlier this week with Game 1. We'll go ahead and do it again. Also, I've had a lot of you guys ask me where I get my NBA ratings from. I use Sports Media Watch for the official ratings, and I've been using TV Line for the preliminary numbers. I also want to take a second to explain what the preliminary number is. The overnight number, or the preliminary number, it includes the estimated number of people who are watching the NBA Finals at home. When the official Nielsen number comes out, which will likely be tomorrow, that will include out-of-home viewership into that rating. So the number released tomorrow will be higher than the number we talk about today. For Game 1, if I remember correctly, the official rating was around 700,000 people higher than the preliminary rating. Now let's go ahead and get into Game 2. As we predicted yesterday, viewership for Game 2 was lower than Game 1. Game 1 generally sets the tone for the series. What they draw for Game 1, usually close to what they're going to draw for most of the games in the series. Sometimes we'll see a dip for Games 2, maybe Game 3, but the ratings generally start to rise the closer the series comes to closing out. That's been the case for a lot of the NBA Finals historically. And with this series being lackluster or shaping up to be lackluster, I don't know if that's going to be the case. This series could actually see lower ratings for Games 4, and if they go to Game 5 and 6, than they saw in Game 1. For Game 2 last night, the preliminary number, 7 million people. 7 million people. That's the audience the NBA was averaging for the second round of the playoffs just 2 years ago. That's the number America's Got Talent drew Tuesday night. The NBA, supposedly the second most popular sport in the country, is on par with the ratings of America's Got Talent, a show geared towards women. This preliminary number is down 10% from the overnight rating for Game 1, which was 7.7 million. And you guys can do the math. 700,000 people lost interest in the NBA between Game 1 and Game 2. Once the official rating is released later today or tomorrow, I will estimate it's going to be less than 8 million people, which will be embarrassing for the NBA. But they're not worried. The NBA's not worried. They know their friends in the media are going to cover for them. Headlines tomorrow will probably read, NBA Finals up 15%. NBA Finals push ABC to dominating Thursday night in the ratings. The media is going to tout this as a huge rating success, but you got to remember what they are comparing these ratings to. The record lows from last year. Game 2 last year, 6.6 million. Game 3, 5.9 million. So of course the ratings in 2021 are going to be higher. There are episodes of Jersey Shore from 10 years ago that drew bigger audiences than Games 2 and 3 of the finals last year. What the media should be doing is what we've been doing and comparing ratings to 2019. If they did that, Game 2 would be down nearly 50%. Let me tell you where the media and the NBA are going to run into a problem. There's a reason, besides the obvious reason of the NBA being woke, that NBA Finals ratings are in the dump. The NBA desperately needed Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors to make a deep playoff run this year. If the NBA could fix the league, they would have fixed it so Steph Curry was in the finals. He's the only draw that they have left. Instead, they were left with this heaping pile of garbage between Phoenix and Milwaukee, two teams who don't have any crossover mainstream stars, in a series that is proving to be uncompetitive. I might get into why this series has been uncompetitive in another video. Mike Budenholzer, he's on the precipice again of losing his job. We might get into that later. But the NBA has not been helped out with this series being so lopsided. I told you guys several times over the last couple of weeks, the conference finals and the NBA finals were going to prove whether or not Giannis can be a big draw for the NBA. Chris Paul is nearing the end of his career. It's too late to market the league around him. But Giannis, if Giannis were able to draw big numbers, you have a potential superstar to build around for the next 10 or so years. But what we're seeing, that's not the case. The casual fan doesn't give a damn about Giannis. That's what the NBA is missing right now, the casual viewer. For the most part, the playoffs have been pretty good, but the league is failing to draw in the casual viewer. There's no reason for them to watch the NBA Finals. The first two games, blowouts. There are no interesting storylines. The biggest story coming out of the NBA Finals, besides Rachel Nichols and Maria Taylor, are the god-awful ratings that they're posting. That casual fan is the same fan the NBA ran off last summer. I know they don't want to admit this, but the casual NBA fan is likely a guy that voted for Donald Trump. He's the guy the NBA was talking to last summer when they were calling Trump voters racist. He's the guy they ran off when they painted Black Lives Matter on the court, when they put those ridiculous social justice messages on the back of their jersey, when they boycotted a playoff game because police shot Jacob Blake. The NBA ran off their casual viewer. And instead of them going on an apology tour this season, they had the face of the league, LeBron James, double down on his wokeness. When he threatened that cop's life on Twitter, there was no hope for the NBA to draw back in the casual viewer. But let me get into that problem I mentioned a second ago, the problem the media in the NBA could run into. They were given a gift in games 1, 2, 3, maybe game 4. The media can claim double-digit increases over those numbers and lie to the uninformed fan that NBA ratings are surging. But what happens if this series gets to game 5, maybe even a game 6? Right now, the woke media is on their knees in their office, praying that this series does not go 5 games. God, how am I going to spin this if this series goes 5 games? I can't spin the numbers if we don't show increases over last year. Game 5 last year drew almost 9 million viewers. Now, Game 6 was around 8.3. What is the media going to do if ratings this year are lower? Now, I know ratings generally rise as the series draws to its conclusion, but there have been instances in the past where the series clinching game was one of the least watched of the series. Happened back in 2018, happened back in 2009. Now, it doesn't happen often, but it can happen. If that were to happen, my guess is the media would ignore the story altogether. They would pretend the ratings just didn't exist for Game 5 or Game 6. Just think where they would be right now. Think where the NBA would be right now if they weren't counting out-of-home viewership. This preliminary number of 7 million, that would be the number. I don't see any way the NBA comes out of this anytime soon. Major League Baseball, they tipped their toe in the woke pond a couple of months ago when they moved the All-Star game out of Georgia. But they saw the backlash they received. And baseball has removed wokeness from the game, and their ratings are back up. The NBA's refusal to apologize, their refusal to acknowledge what's actually happening, your woke politics are tanking your league, there's just no coming back from this. Great job, Adam Silver. Your weakness, your refusal to take a stand and do what's best for the NBA has put you in this position. You have taken something that David Stern built over 3 decades into a global powerhouse. And in the span of about 2 years, you have found a way to eliminate half of your audience. Adam Silver, Commissioner of the Year. What the NBA needs right now is a commissioner with balls. A commissioner who works for the owners, not the players. Until they get Adam Silver the hell out of there and put someone in place that knows how to run a business, the NBA is going to continue to experience this level of decline. All right, what do you guys think of the preliminary rating for Game 2? Do you think the ratings will get lower as the series progresses, or will they start to rise? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com. KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.